Hey, what's up, guys? It's Davey Crocko. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to dive into the case of Debbie Collier, one of the most mysterious, I guess, whodunits, but mysterious murder cases that I've came around this year. And I am with Simply Stranger, who I met on Twitter, who's been diving into this case. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. You've really been diving into this. Um, I've probably followed your timeline on this case more than others. Uh, I don't know if you watch anybody else in the quote true crime community, but I have a harder and harder time watching a lot of those people.
Well, it's a little bit of a zoo on social media when it comes to the true crime community, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of people that it's just like it's just about the super chats and it's just about the it's not about finding out the information. It's more about like getting subs, getting money.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. And I will openly say up front my goal and my world on in true crime and on Twitter is because I actually want to create new platforms that streamline the processes that we use or law enforcement uses, and then also brings resources to them or lets them know what resources are available to help find missing people and deal with these manhunts in a more efficient manner. I think we can do better.
Yeah, and I think there's some great people that do it. I think Lord and Arts um, does a good job. He does like the brain scratch
Yeah.
searchlight. I think he does a great job. I think there's multiple people, but then I think there's like some like Icked Mells of the world that just rub me the wrong way. But that's just my personal
I
opinion.
try not to recommend too many people on social media because I find that people will change with the popularity that you know,
Yeah, no, I
you just
hear
never
you.
know what direction somebody's going to go in their future.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's why I stick with Lorden because I've talked to him before. He's been around for 10 years, maybe even longer. I feel like his heart's in the right place on a lot of stuff. But let's just start in on this case on one of the original articles. Now, the event happened on September 11th. Well, not
That's
the
when they
event.
found
Not the
her.
event. That's when they found her. Um, but missing
That's
Georgia mom Debbie Collier was found naked and burned, clutching tree at bottom of a basement. Documents say. So the Habersham County, Georgia, is where it happened. A missing Georgia mom was found dead earlier this month. Discovered partially burned, stripped naked, grasping a small tree, and we'll get into that tree as well, on how it was like cut and it's just another weird detail. At this point, investigators are still working to learn how the body ended up in the wooded area off Highway 441. Her daughter, which we're definitely going to get into, Amanda Bearden, told investigators that her mother's car was in the shop at the time she left home in a rented Chrysler Pacifica SUV, and she said she was only carrying her license and a debit card, and this is obviously going to be a point of contention. Now, Debbie was 59, initially reported missing out of Athens on September 10th, um, and the first call for her missing came from her husband, boyfriend, I believe.
her husband.
Yeah, okay. And we'll have those 911 calls as well. Um,
He's Steve Collier, so that we have the name. He is Steve Collier.
Steve Collier. Now, her daughter, again, told investigators that her mother's car was in the shop. Like everyone else, I'm shocked. Why is that happening around here? Daniel Shelton said. Shelton is one of many wondering what happened to Collier. And they have just a minor police report on what happened. According to the incident report from the Habersham County Sheriff's Office, Collier's van was found on the side of the road September 11th after she was reported missing to the Athens Clarke County Police Department a day prior. Reports indicate the Sirius XM radio inside the van led investigators to that location. And then we get into the details show Collier last talk to her daughter, which this is a detail that is speculative. They're assuming that she last talked to her daughter through a Venmo message where she sent $2,385 with a message stating, quote, "They won't let me go. There's a key to the house underneath the flower pot." But no one's confirmed that she sent that message. No one's confirmed where that money has gone. So that's a very, speculative thing just to say that it was definitely a message from her. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's one where people say, like, oh, well, it came from her account and it was sent to the daughter. But then you get a few days in and it's like, well, we don't know what device it was sent
Maybe.
from. We don't know what device it was sent from, and we don't know who got the money. Now, they might know who got the money and they're just not telling us, but it's
Well,
definitely
they
a.
they don't have all that. They didn't have all the data back as of their last press conference, but they have subpoenaed it, so they will know soon enough.
Yeah. Um, At this point, investigators believe whoever was responsible attempted to burn the body. Her remains were apparently burned with what appeared to be charring to the abdomen. Collier's red purse was found nearby. That ended up being the tote bag, I believe.
Yes.
And she had a more of a blackish purse on her.
Yeah,
Um,
blue. She had a navy purse, but they did find that also.
yeah, and we'll see that in footage of her taking a trip to a Family Dollar very far from her house. Um, so let's see here. See if I want to add anything else. So that was like the original article I read on this case, and I was like, this is already a crazy story. Like this already sounds very suspect. Um, and you're
And
obviously,
grotesque.
yeah, grotesque, weird. The Venmo thing took it over the top for me because it's such a specific number to send someone and an odd message to send someone. I mean, I'm not a mother, obviously. Are you? Are you?
Right. Yes, but
Okay.
I that if I was in fear for my life, if I thought those were my last moments, I would send my location.
Yeah. I don't think I would send
I,
I don't think I would send anything about a flower pot.
I
Um,
might even post to Facebook. Here's my location. Check in wherever the heck you are on Facebook. Send the police. You know what I mean? Anything. But to send a Venmo for 23.85 and say doesn't look like they're going to let me go or they aren't going to let me go, whatever, however exactly it was worded. Love you. The key to the house is in the blue flower pot by the front door. Which, by the way, there are blue flower pots by the front door. But really strange thing to say when you're about to be murdered.
yeah, so her occupation was a real estate manager, and people have speculated maybe she had a showing. There's no information to corroborate that. Um,
And I would like to point out with that, because I've heard that also, and I have not addressed this yet, but I thought about it. I just got busy and forgot about it over and over again. But it says she's a front office manager at a real estate company. And I think that you could kind of put that up there with more of that administrative type of a position and less of the showing houses kind of a thing. Now, I mean, I'm not saying she didn't maybe have side work once in a while where she went and put a sign in the yard, but usually that's the real estate person's job usually. So, but she was not a real estate agent.
Collier as new 911
had to turn off. When you open up these articles, these videos automatically play, and they just throw Nancy Grace in there, and I do not want to hear her voice right now. Anyway, so they've been serving several search warrants, including one of Collier's daughter Amanda Bearden's home. But police revealed nothing about the status of other warrants, subpoenas, and crime lab testing at that point. This was earlier on. This was, September 25th, 26th when they're saying this kind of stuff. Now, just to give a brief timeline, and I'll throw this over so everyone can see it. And the timeline changes a lot, so we just have to, kind of remember that. September 8th, Collier's daughter Bearden moves back to Georgia with her 27-year-old boyfriend, Andrew Gigerich, is how I'm going to pronounce it.
Any of us know exactly how to pronounce that. He was in MMA, so the people who know him know him.
Yeah. Oh, he's like low level MMA.
Yeah.
Not too many wins. According to George Kaysen, the lead investigator on the case, they had been living with her brother Jeffrey. Collier's son was Collier's son for an unspecified length of time. The couple has a history of arrests for domestic violence, drug charges, and when they moved back, they returned to the same Athens duplex where they lived before. Now, I had also heard rumors that Debbie was not aware that they were coming this time. I don't know if you heard that as well.
I heard that rumor too, and I have not been able to. I have no idea. I have no idea if she knew they were coming. It's speculation. Nobody has gotten that straight from any source. So there's speculation that there was an argument on Friday night. So they get there Thursday afternoon, right? At some point on Thursday. We don't know when. But we do know that they arrived sometime on Thursday. And that Friday night there was a fight, an argument, the Collier residence. And it was... it's bad enough that the neighbors had heard it, but somehow Steve slept through it. I don't know if he takes sleeping medicine or what the deal is, but they do sleep in separate bedrooms. Anyway, and the speculation is that they were fighting maybe about the fact that she had brought Andrew back with her because there was a restraining order. They weren't allowed to be a no contact order, whatever. They were not allowed to be near each other.
Yeah.
But they had just came back into the state together.
Yeah, so, I mean... At first, they were reporting it as neighbors would often hear a woman arguing with another woman. I think we can pretty much narrow it down to it was Debbie arguing with her daughter. I mean, everything fits for that to be. I'm not even going to speculate on that one. I think we can confirm that's what happened. So, on September 10th, 2:17 p.m., traffic cameras spot Collier's vehicle driving northbound on Route 15 in Tallulah Falls, and she walked into a Family Dollar store at Clayton at 2:55, about 90 minutes north of her home in Athens, which is already weird that she's driving this far out.
It's a Family Dollar, there's actually one in Athens.
Yeah, and I think I've heard from multiple different places there's, not just Family Dollars, but all the dollar stores. There's 9 separate
11 of them?
Yeah, 9 to 11. There's some Walmarts in between. So there has to be a specific reason she drove all the way out there. Now, Collier is reported missing several hours later after her sending her daughter this $2,385 over the Venmo app and the cryptic message that we talked about. They're not going to let me go. The Venmo payment comes at 3:17 p.m. and this is while she's in the parking lot of the Family Dollar. And I think we'll have footage.
She sent this happens while she's in the parking lot after exiting the store while sitting in her car.
Yeah, she sits in her car for a good, what, 10.
We still don't know if Debbie sent it. We just know it happens during the time that Debbie is sitting in her car in the parking lot.
True.
Or suspected to be Debbie.
Yeah, so it is her last known stop before her death at this point. Store cameras showed her entering wearing a number 34 Georgia Bulldogs jersey and a purchase of several items, and these items were all found near her remains: a blue tarp, a red tote bag, paper towels, a torch lighter, and a poncho. Now, her husband, Stephen Collier, reported her missing at 6:01. Now, they say in this article that her daughter and husband reported her missing, but that's not what happened. Stephen Collier reported her missing.
This is it gets a little murky, but her daughter goes to her stepdad's house to tell him what's going on, and he makes the call at 6:01, and then the officer shows up over at the house. That's going to give you, I think, a 6:08 or something like that time. So their response was incredibly quick.
Yeah, and this is very fishy to me too, because Amanda Bearden shows up at the house and she also shows up at the scene, and she's the one to give the info of what the mom did or did not bring. But we don't know if that's true or not.
She only tells Steve, the stepdad, that she got a text message that says they're not going to let me go. She leaves out the $2,300 that was transferred from what Venmo shows as his bank account to Amanda. And I have all the Venmos that go back and forth in that family. And it's a pretty, every so many days, apparently Amanda needs money from someone, right? But she doesn't bother to tell Steve that there was a $2,385 transaction from his account over to her account, or that her mother has told her where the key is, assuming Debbie actually sent the Venmo.
Yeah. Which is just an assumption at this point, because that's just how they're not confirming that, for one. They're saying we're going to look through every single cell phone record and, try to get the information from Venmo specifically so we know where this money came from, what device it came from, what device it went to, and where the money is. So on the 11th...
100%.
Yeah. Investigators on a September 11th, which is just weird, that date, find the Chrysler Pacifica around 12:30 p.m. parked on the northbound side of Georgia Route 15 in Clarksville, about 13 miles south of the Family Dollar store. The vehicle was unlocked and unoccupied, according to the incident report. The scene is still an hour's drive away from where Collier lived in Athens, but her daughter Amanda Bearden arrives in a hysterical state, according to police documents. She tells investigators her mother did not suffer from any known mental issues or suicidal tendencies. So they add that in there.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything in this article that I would want to add in. So a canine unit discovers Collier's remains down an embankment, down a ravine, a quarter mile from the vehicle, nude, partially burned with charring on her abdomen and her right hand clutching a tree. The report states that she is obviously deceased, and investigators quickly identify her as the missing mom, Collier. September 14th, deputies serve a warrant at Bearden's home. 3 days after discovering her mother's remains, it is unclear what investigators found there, if anything. She lives there with her boyfriend, Giergrich, who she's supposed to have a, not supposed to be with.
Right.
And the couple has a rocky relationship with numerous domestic violence calls over the past 3 years, which we'll get into. September 21st, the Habersham County Sheriff's Office reveals that investigators have found no evidence of either suicide or kidnapping, and they've made it clear at this point that they're not backing off. It's a homicide.
Definitely.
Okay. Now on the 25th, Jeffrey Bearden, that'd be the son, breaks his silence, praising his mother as a beloved matriarch filled with joy and beauty, asking the public to end speculation about the case and give detectives time to finish their investigation. And in my opinion, he seems to just be a grieving son. I don't see anything pointing to him. I don't see anything,
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel for him, actually. I do feel for him. I saw a picture of him with his mother, and it was one of those pictures that looked like it would be in a frame in the store that you would buy, that perfect, family kind of thing. And I thought, oh, that's really tragic because, who knows what he went through having his sister out there all that time. She would be hard to handle.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I'm gonna end that timeline one and try to get to a different link here. When my some of these Fox links just take up a lot.
Fox has done a great job reporting on this.
Yeah. Now, he says he's been incredibly hurt, disturbed by some of the reporting and information shared regarding the investigation into his mother's death.
You really have to feel for him in this instance because, he's in Maryland. He's not here. He can't see what happened. He must know his sister's got problems, right? Because she was out there with him for all that time. And, nobody would want to believe that their sister would be involved in their mother's murder. Nobody would want to believe that. But then, you also wonder if in the back of his head he kind of knows, hey, look, these are the people I'm dealing with. My sister and her boyfriend aren't exactly great people.
Agreed.
I feel for him.
Agreed. For some reason, it won't let me click off of this link, so I'm just gonna try to get out of it a different way. So, just give me 1 second here.
Go ahead.
Now, would you say I'm gonna call her right back. So at this point, we have the body found. We have the speculation of where this Venmo came from. And we are at the point where the cops are about to give a press conference. And I'm just going to message her that I'm calling her right back. Now, the police officers seem to be taking this very seriously, and they seem very well equipped to handle this investigation, which is nice to see because a lot of times you see police officers that, not that they're not taking the case seriously, but they might bumble something in the beginning, or they might miss something, or they have a misstep, or they misspeak on something. They've been very clear, they've been very open that they think this is deliberate, they think this is personal, and they're not backing off of that at all. So if you just give me 1 second, I'm just gonna call her back on Discord here. I had too many Nancy Grace videos popping up in my feed there. And many true crime channels, true crime content creators are definitely covering this case. I don't have anyone to recommend. I've been watching Grizzly True Crime. I thought they did a pretty decent job, but you know, there's a lot of different things that happen. All right. So let me just open this up, and then we'll get right back to where we left off. And I'm going to premiere this video, but I'm also going to put it up on Odysee and Bitchute, and I'll be premiering it on YouTube as well, just so everybody has a chance to see this. And I've been looking at it, probably 5 to 10 links like every day on this case, and it's one crazy thing after another. But once we get to the press conference and the 911 calls, you guys are going to start getting a better idea of just exactly what's going on. And at the end of the day, everything is up for speculation at this point. Everything. You know, you go to the family first. The cops just have no reason to think this is random just because of how far she was out from the house. This had to be some kind of personal thing. This had to be, it just had to be something of somebody she knew, or an acquaintance of somebody she knew. And I just want to make that very clear. And also, it's at simply_stranger, at Angels Broken Halo on Twitter is her Twitter account that I'm talking to, and I mean, she's covering this thing very fiercely, so I just want to give her the most credit that I can, because I was going to come on and do a stream by myself, and I'm like, I think I need someone on with me to you know, help me get through some of this stuff. So the next thing we'll get to is the crime scene. And we'll get some pictures of the wooded area, the ravine, all of that stuff. Alright. Let me make sure I call her right back. And this is the Daily Mail. As she says, Fox has been doing a very good job as well. Hey, what's up? Yo.
Maybe. Give no voice again. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Alright, let me try this. Can you still hear me? All right, we'll just go with this. This will be better for the clips as well, so you can hear the reports and the press conference as well. Now, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen with you so you know where I'm at. We're going to just quickly go through the wooded area where she was found, and this is where they, took some pictures of the scene itself. So, this is from the Daily Mail. Pictured the secluded crime scene where the charred body of murdered Georgia mom Debbie Collier, 59, was discovered naked, lying on her back, grasping a small tree. Deeper into the dense woodland down the road, the area began to show signs of a recent forensic investigation, with discarded latex gloves, yellow crime tape littering the ground. A 15-minute hike led to the haunting scene, where a tree had been sawn off, and within feet was a compact burnt area of leaves and timber, forensic gloves, and pieces of paper, and all of the stuff that she had just recently bought at the Family Dollar, which will have the footage of the Family Dollar stuff. Now, a question a lot of people are asking me is, and I saw someone put this up, did the cops saw the tree for evidence? And I just don't think they would do that.
I mean, they would if there was a real legitimate reason to have that part of the tree, like there was blood, right? But another thing they can do in that instance is just swab the blood, right? But maybe if there was a bullet or something, it's kind of hard to imagine, but we're all speculating on it. We'd all love to know why the tree is sawed, especially because when you look at the crime scene, you don't see a burnt piece of tree. You see a freshly cut tree. It doesn't look like it was ever put in the fire, which it would have been a terrible piece of lumber to burn.
Yeah, and it looks like the piece of the tree that's cut is still there. So it's just weird.
Yeah.
Now her at this point, which was I'm trying to look for a date, September 22nd, her cause of death had not been revealed, nor is it publicly known if she died in the ravine or was taken there after being killed. I would speculate she was killed down in the ravine, just because of the burning, and it just seems more likely in my opinion.
So I think there's a lot of speculation as to when Debbie actually died. A lot of speculation into when Debbie actually died. And I even did a poll on this because there is so much speculation. When did she find out she was in trouble? When did she die? And was this where she died? There's a root ball of a tree, and that is where the fire is. That's where they had the fire. It was not a very big fire. And they were burning essentially the root ball of the tree as part of their fire, which doesn't make a lot of sense because a root ball is full of dirt, which doesn't burn. But she is found a distance from this down the ravine, burned.
Yeah.
Part of her shirt and things are up at this campfire. She's down the ravine holding the tree. Ultimately, she probably died in the ravine.
Yep. And here we have a recently sawn off tree and 2 burn sites mark the areas where police discovered the missing woman in a ravine near scenic Tallulah Falls. So you see the that would be a sawed off tree. That would be an axed tree, just by the way it looks like to me. It's not a piece of equipment, electric saw that looks like someone hacked at it with an axe, in my opinion. So I don't think the cops would do that.
Yeah, the piece next to it is also broken. And if you look, the piece on the ground does not match the piece on the top.
Yeah, it's a little too small. Very odd, or maybe this could have just been a stump that was already there like this. I mean, there's a lot of different, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Um,
It could. It doesn't make sense either.
what's that?
Never mind. I had a thought, and then I decided it didn't make sense. It happens all day long.
Well, I mean, looking at this case, a lot of things don't make sense, so you got to throw them out there sometimes. The densely wooded area showed clear signs of recent forensic investigation, blah, blah, blah. The discarded latex gloves and crime tape littering the ground, I find that just odd that the cops didn't clean that stuff up, but whatever.
I don't think it's so odd that they didn't take the crime scene tape away, because it seems like they always end up leaving that behind for some reason. And it is littering. It's really annoying, but we love, in a way, that they leave that there because it helps us to figure out where to go if we want to go see the scene, right? But
Yeah.
in this instance, there's like 6 at least sets of forensic gloves laying around, not just laying around, they're hanging from the tree.
Yeah, it's just very...
It's just unbelievable what a mess they left.
Yeah, it's very weird. And I've seen people take the walk by themselves filming it. I saw that you did a Google Maps GPS walk and a route. What would you call it? You did the same route that you thought she may have took just to see how many cameras along the way would have spotted her. And we know the cops are holding back a ton of footage and a ton of information right now, as they have to in investigations like this.
And they said they were still looking through all that footage. Keep in mind, that would be hours and hours of footage that they need to go through.
Yeah. And there's just some
And
stuff...
that's probably not the prettiest footage.
Yeah, and when you're doing a murder investigation, there's only certain things the killer is going to know, or someone that knows about what happened is going to know, so they can't release it to the public, or then it becomes public knowledge. Now they talk about a teddy bear shrine guarded the spot where officers discovered the Pacifica. That's just, people, putting a shrine up. Here's a more close-up, a 15-minute hike through piles of dead leaves and timber led to the site downhill. So, I mean, 15-minute hike down a ravine is, not something you would randomly do. To me, someone's leading you down there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, she could have rolled down there.
Yeah. A few feet from that...
There's your root ball.
Yeah, so a few feet from that lay a larger uprooted tree with parts of the roots scorched, believed to be the one described in the chilling police report.
When you look at that tree, I wonder if the reason that they had the fire right there is because the root ball itself would act kind of like a backdrop to help protect the flames from being noticed out by the road, because that root ball is still up on the more flat part.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you might come across, and in the mindset they might be in, they think it gives you a little coverage. And
if you had a body right there.
And she was partially burned, so we don't know if they were expecting, her body to completely be engulfed in flames, because, in my opinion, we're not dealing with some kind of experts here in murder or burning of bodies.
Definitely not.
We're dealing with...
Or in any other aspect of it.
Yeah, we're just dealing with amateurs here. And we'll get...
From Family Dollar turns up at this crime scene. It was like she bought all the stuff she needed to have somebody bury her body. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, when she went in and bought those things, she had a smile on her face.
Yeah, very calm at the Family Dollar. And people have gone over the footage of the parking lot to see if anybody followed her out. There are a few weird things about the parking lot, but as far as I saw, nobody completely followed her from the Family Dollar parking lot, but that doesn't mean someone didn't follow her from the interstate. And we don't know about cell phone coordination at this point and who is telling who to do what. There was speculation that someone may have been in her car. I think that's been debunked at this point, but we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, they said that there wasn't anybody in her car, but we can all see that there's tinted windows in that car, so it would be very difficult to tell if there was somebody in that car, especially if they were laying down.
You could say there was nobody in the passenger seat of the car.
Right.
Other than that, you really couldn't say 100% just by the footage that there wasn't.
Correct.
So she leaves her house in this rented Chrysler Pacifica because her car had recently been in a crash a month earlier. And we'll get into...
It was a fender bender.
Yeah, we'll get into that because that's part of a 911 call. And yeah, they just talk about the amount of miles she drove and how her body was found in this article. Just checking to see.
So one piece that kind of keeps getting missed in this is if you go back to the map that she drove. Remember you talked about how she was picked up on camera 217. She's picked up on camera in Tallulah Falls. So Tallulah Falls, where she's picked up on camera in the school zone there, that is just north of their crime scene, right? So she passes the crime scene to go to Clayton to Family Dollar, and then it's like she's heading back home, but when they find her vehicle, it's going north again heading, or it's just north of, or it's heading north again 60 miles from her home, but like she turned around and was heading north again.
Yeah, to me, the only thought I had in my head on that was maybe someone following and she was trying to make a turnaround. I really can't do anything more than speculate on that.
Yeah.
It's a very...
Nobody can, because nobody knows what happened after Family Dollar.
It's a very odd route. I mean, there's no other way around it. To go that far out to a Family Dollar, go north of it, turn back, and then turn back again. There's obviously...
That's like just going to a game.
Yeah. Now, let's see here. They still want to talk about the crime scene gloves. They want to mention that a million times.
Everybody was a little bit disgusted by it.
Yeah. Now, Debbie showed no hints of any personal problems or worries while at work. Stunned staff at her real estate office told the Daily Mail, "We are all in a state of complete shock at what has happened," said one employee at Carriage House Realty in Athens, where she was the office manager. Debbie had been there for 7 or 8 years, so we're talking about a reliable employee here. We are still taking this in, added a staff member who didn't want to be named. And another twist, they can reveal that police had spotted the Pacifica rented from Enterprise by the mom because her own vehicle was being repaired, unlocked, and unoccupied beside the old logging road at 5 p.m. the previous day.
Which is really an interesting piece of evidence, because keep in mind there was a fire.
Yeah.
And so, and we know she sent the Venmo and left Family Dollar at 3:17. At 5 p.m. an officer drives by, sees her car there at the crime scene, doesn't see anybody else, and certainly does not see a fire, because you're not allowed to burn there at all until October because of fire season, right?
Yep.
So it would have been pretty obvious if there had been, especially in that more damp kind of environment that they have there. It leaves and all of that. It would, and then talking about a human body,
Yeah.
the amount of smoke and smell.
Yeah, so the following day, the car was located in connection with the missing person inquiry at around 12:30. Uh, various officers arrive at the scene, and the incident report reads Deputy Forrester deployed his certified uh, human odor canine Zane, and they obviously picked up the smell. This is the original missing persons report. Um, we know all of this information already. We've been through it. Um, upon arrival, I spoke to the caller, Stephen Collier. He informed me that he last seen his wife, Debbie Collier, the night before, just before going to bed around 9 p.m. He stated when he left for work in the morning, the vehicle Deborah drives was still in the driveway, so she should have been home. He clarified that he and Deborah sleep in separate rooms due to his snoring. So the argument that happens between Amanda and Debbie that night post 9 p.m. And the neighbors hear it, but he doesn't hear it. Maybe he's just a very deep sleeper.
I mean, he could take sleeping medicine. He could have hearing aids. We have no idea. But I mean, he isn't a spring chicken either. So it is possible that I don't know how old he is. I don't even remember. I did look him up, but he isn't really our focus too much on this. He's not really our number one person of interest as a whole. He doesn't seem like he's a bad guy. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's definitely always hard to say. But I think looking at it, we're looking at the daughter and the boyfriend.
Yeah, I think that we've all kind of. That's pretty much where we're mostly all at. Yeah.
So, added to the report, while on scene awaiting the arrival of Forrester, Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, arrived on scene in a hysterical state. Bearden began screaming that the vehicle belonged to her mother. Bearden was notified by the Clark County PD that the vehicle was being pinned by SiriusXM and provided her with a proximate location of the latest ping. Sergeant Neal and Foster spoke briefly with Bearden, asking general questions in reference to Collier's mental health state and briefly about her medical history. Bearden advised Foster that her mother did not have a history of mental health issues, denied suicidal tendencies. She also stated that her mother had a bad back and couldn't have walked far. And there's been accusations of drug use on her part, and the cops, vehemently said this case is not drug related. It's personal. Now, I still believe it could be drug related in the sense that there may have been a debt owed by the daughter's boyfriend or the daughter themselves, and there could have been some situation where somebody got involved, but directly being drug involved for Debbie, I think is what they're ruling out. She wasn't meeting with a drug dealer.
This is a drug deal gone bad.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to get across.
Well, because initially when they marked they marked the box on the initial report when they found her that it was drug related, and then they came back and walked that back and said, okay, no.
All right, so and Stephen also comes to the scene as well.
He does. It's not really mentioned, but you see him in a picture or two.
Yeah, they made a point to mention Amanda a lot going to the scene, but did not mention him a lot, but he definitely was at the scene.
Definitely.
All right, so you want to do 911 calls?
Sure.
Now, let's see. Let's start with Steven's call, and then we'll go to the friend that lives in a different state who talks about the trucker. Because an article
I
did.
believe that is Debbie's sister.
Yes, the Aunt Diane.
Yeah.
There was actually an article from Fox today that came out who is the trucker mentioned in the 911 call, and they go through basically everything about that whole situation that happened with the accident that happened a month earlier. But we'll start with Stephen Collier, enhanced audio. I'll give a shout out to the channel that put this up once I find out what channel it is. Because the same channel I'm using for all three of the calls. So let's just let this load up for a second.
I'm going to mute myself while you play this.
Okay.
Number one. Yes. Came home. My wife wasn't home. Her driver's license still in there. The rental car's gone, and her daughter's here. And we were kind of worried about what's happening and where she's at. I was wondering if you could send somebody over here.
Okay. Do you have any medical issue, let's say like Alzheimer's or something like that?
No. She's 59 years old. No, she has no medical issues like that. And according to her daughter, who went up and her purse is still here with her driver's license. The only thing is.
Now, that's the only thing I want to really ask you about is he's getting the information from the daughter that shows up at the house of what's left and not left. This is a very, I think, key detail that we can't just take the word of we can't just take the word of the daughter that that's what was left there. Because
we have a daughter who has been gone to another state for an extended period of time. So for her to know exactly what her mother did or didn't have on her is very questionable, right? And if, in fact, Amanda was just getting there for the first time when Steve talked to her, then I don't know, that whole, I'm just going to say it's a very questionable situation. It looks to me like Amanda has now been given free rein to go up and put her hands all over mom's things that she may have not otherwise had her hands on now that there's going to be a crime scene. It's very concerning to me, Amanda's actions in this. Also, he states very clearly she has no medical problems.
Yeah.
No bad back.
And it's like there's always one of these things in these, like, you know, very mysterious cases that just irk you, and like you just wish that she never got to that house and he called the police, they got there and got a real inventory of what was there, instead of the daughter's word, who's, you know, a suspect at this point.
Yeah, it feels very much to me every time she makes a move that it's building an advanced alibi in everything she does, and red herrings. It's just what you see over and over again.
I totally agree with you, and I think your timeline illustrates that.
The phone is gone, and she texted her daughter a text about 2 hours ago saying they won't let me go. Whatever that means, we don't know. And I've been gone all day parking cars for the football game. You know, and that's where we at.
What's your address, sir?
Now, his alibi is pretty complete, other than if he, you know, like, did like a murder for hire or something. His location and what he was doing is caught on surveillance. He is working that whole time.
So he's on camera from 9 until 4. So yeah, murder for hire, or keeping in mind the last time Amanda said she did speak to her mom on the phone the next day, so we have to assume that the murder for hire really could be the only way. You know, I think he's just almost too French to be possible, you know, but You can't completely rule him out.
True.
435 Rocky Drive, Athens, Georgia.
You said 435 Rocky Drive?
Yes, it's right next to Stanger. Saying that.
And it come from her number, right?
Now, this is a Venmo message, not a text message, but I've been trying to explain to people, these are older people. They don't understand the technology as well. He just perceives it as a text. It's a text added to a Venmo transaction. He's just calling it a text. It's a Venmo message.
We don't actually know what she told him because she clearly isn't giving him the complete story that he's giving the police, right? Or he's so frantic that he's only catching parts of the details, whatever the case may be, and it could be that. But let's remember that the Venmo account, as it's listed under his name, not hers. Not Debbie's, but under Steve's name.
Yeah, my theory on
You'd think he'd know something about it.
Yeah, my theory on this was Debbie sets up the Venmo account. They have a. I'm not saying they do, but I'm assuming they have a joint bank account. And them being at their age, I'm assuming the bank account is in the man's name, even though it's a joint account. And she just put his name on the Venmo account to match the banking stuff. That's just my.
I would say that's exactly what I think is the deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like, something.
It fits perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, something a 60-year-old would do. Like, maybe she felt weird. Like, I'm not.
Again, I forget how old he is. I assume he's a little bit older than her. She was 59, so,
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not using.
We can't expect that to be $50 savvy.
Like, he's not using Venmo and PayPal on a daily basis. Like, I don't think he's ever used it.
He's probably not using them at all.
What is what's
She
your
probably does that for him.
Yeah. And like you said, you have a list of the transactions. So we're 1 minute in. It's a 6-minute call. We'll play most of it.
sir?
Steve Collier.
Spell your last name for me?
Collier.
And your wife's name?
Deborah. Deborah. We call it Debbie, but it's Deborrah.
Spell your last name?
Collier, yes.
How old is she? 59?
59. She just turned 59.
You just returned home, right?
Pardon me?
You just returned home, right?
Yes, I just returned home. I was parking cars until about 4:30, and when I came back, the van that she had rented because the car was in shop was gone. I figured she was shopping for food.
Okay. So and her car is there?
Pardon me? Her van's not here.
Okay. But her driver's license and what else is there?
Right.
Home?
Yeah, her driver's license is here.
What else did she leave? For the purse or anything else?
Yeah, she left her purse, and her credit cards are here.
When was the last time?
Now, do you want to add anything to the purse and the credit card being left? Because she's wearing a purse at the Family Dollar.
Yeah, I mean, she is. And she pulls her credit card from her pocket, not from her purse, but she checks her purse first, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just keeps coming back to Amanda did something in that room to try to kind of stage something up for what was missing and what was not. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
It just, I can't get that out of my head.
There's a reason Amanda was in that room. There's a reason for everything in this case. There's a reason that she put, or someone put, that the key was in the flower pot in this message that would have to go to the police.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very bizarre message. Again, not a mother, but I would think as a father, as a mother, that would not be your last message if you knew you were gonna die to send out.
Your way?
Um,
No.
I don't think any money transaction would be important at that point. I think a literal text, a phone call, anything.
So when your children, if you have yourself set up to them for them, and by her age, you would think, right? The money for you is going to your children when you die anyway. So why would you need to pay a fee and send it via Venmo?
Yeah, and we'll talk later on about the exact amount and another theory that's going on with that because that's very speculative, but we will touch on that.
Was in this case.
Well, I left at 9 o'clock. She was still sleeping. So, last night, I mean, went to bed last night, and I left, and the van was here.
So is your stepdaughter there though? I mean, did she see her today?
Pardon me?
Did your stepdaughter see her today?
Wait a minute.
You say your stepdaughter. Did she see her or?
Say that again. I'm trying to control a dog.
Okay, your stepdaughter. Did she see her?
No, nobody has seen her. I was probably last person to see her last night.
What time? You said 9 o'clock last night?
Yeah, by 9 o'clock we went to bed.
You left this morning, right?
Yes, at about 9.
I'm sorry. So did you see her this morning or last night?
No, I saw her last night at about 9 when she went to bed. And when I left, the van was here. And
So she was. You don't know if she was still there or not. You didn't see her this morning.
right, except the van was still here. So I'm assuming she was sleeping.
What time was the message sent to your stepdaughter?
What time? About 2 hours ago?
It's about 2 hours ago?
Yes.
And it specifically said they won't let me go.
Yeah, that's what the message said.
And that's all it said, right?
That's all it said.
Now, he's either just frantic or Amanda didn't mention the rest of the message there.
He doesn't even know that it's been 3 hours.
Yeah. So I think he's being misled. I believe him to just be a frantic husband at this point. I am going to go to the call that comes in from the aunt because weirdly Amanda calls the aunt just to give her the old mom's missing call, but then doesn't really stay in touch. And this call just adds more to the case where people can go down different rabbit holes because of this trucker situation.
The mainstream media has put this out like this, and it's like law enforcement has clearly said this was somebody close to her, and but
yes,
look at this red
my
hair.
name is Diane Shirley, and my sister lives in Georgia.
I'll give it a second to load up. You can finish what you were saying.
Oh, just Amanda. She inserts herself into this investigation. Just slightly advanced to everything, giving herself some sort of an alibi, some sort of a cover up. It's like you can smell her covering things up as she goes, and it's bizarre to me. I mean, if you put this in perspective, Amanda's mother is an all-star mom who has always been there for her, who has sent her money over and over again and given her places to stay and just always been there to take care of everything she needed, right? The one person that she had that had the most to lose is Amanda.
Yes, my name is Diane Shirley, and
Do you know if she, do you have any information where she might go, or do you have anything to add?
Well, from my niece, she said that she was in an accident about a month ago, and she was, on the road. She was following this truck, and this truck lost a paint can, and the paint can hit my sister's car, and the paint went everywhere.
So the audio does get a little choppy. That's just gonna happen sometimes with 911 dispatch. But she said she was in an accident a month ago where paint cans flew off of this truck onto this car. And you'll hear the rest of the details about this. As you said, the mainstream media really wanted to hammer this one in because they said the guy was a ex-con, and he tried to dissuade Debbie from filing a police report. But the cops have been adamant that this has nothing to do with anything that happened. Like, I'll just say it. Like, this guy was not supposed to be driving, so like he just did what he had to do and tried to ask, like, hey, could you not report this because I'm not supposed to be driving. It would make no sense a month later that he would murder her. Like, so they sensationalized this one a little bit.
And the driver was trying to convince my sister not to tell the cops that he was driving because he was out on parole, and there was, a stipulation to his parole that he couldn't drive.
I got you.
And
I'm sorry. I was going to ask, do you think that was told to anybody else? Do you think that was told to the officer, that concern?
That's standing from my niece.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if the officer knows that.
So again, it's information from Amber. Right?
Yeah, once again, Amber has planted the seed for this sweet little old aunt.
Yeah. Just constantly giving little nuggets of information to everybody. As you said, and I agree with you, almost deflection, putting up a line of defense. The fact that her and her boyfriend came out saying that they're scared for their lives and barricading themselves in their household, I thought was very overboard. But this is only a 3-minute call and it's 2 minutes in, so I'll let it finish out. And then we'll play the infamous after the fact Amber call, which we can go through and see the level of how worried she is.
But I can have him call you if you want to pass them along with anything to help,
Yes, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Because I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I'm in Alabama, and I really do. She won't, she's not communicating very well with us, and I really would like to know what's going on.
And she means Amber.
I got you. Yeah, since you may have insight on that, I'll have the sergeant give you a call. Is that okay?
So that's basically where that call ends, where they're gonna get her in touch with the investigators, and we will play the. I mean, what would you call these? 2 911 calls after the fact. This isn't to report her missing. This isn't to. It's basically for her to try to get information, insert herself into the investigation.
I think that is what a lot of people think. I don't know. I mean, it looks like that. There's no denying. Let everybody listen. Let's see what they think.
Yeah, it is. Again, like we said, everything is speculative. We're not saying anyone's guilty, but if the cops are saying this is personal.
Hi, my name's Amanda Bearden, and I filed a missing persons report on my mother last night. Yesterday, and I was just wondering if maybe I could speak with the detective that's been assigned to the case.
Do you have any further information?
I sure do. Do you want the case number?
I have the case number so I can look it up that way.
So when she said, "Do you have any further information?" the dispatcher meant like, "Do you have any further information on the case?" Amanda takes that as, "I have the information to prove that I know that there's a missing person." But did she say that she filed the missing person report in the beginning of this call?
Did I miss that? Did she say it? That she was the one that did it?
Let's.
I mean, she did in a sense because the officer comes to the house, to Steve's house, right after they call, and that's where they file the report together.
Yeah.
So technically, she did file a missing report.
Yeah, technically, that is true.
Yeah.
I guess in my mind I put it that Steve did the missing report, but since she was there, I guess it is a
She
joint.
certainly didn't do it herself, did she?
She definitely did not go out of her way as soon as she got the weird Venmo to call 911.
Yeah.
How many hours after the Venmo message came until a missing report was called?
Just a hair under 3 hours.
Which is, I mean, I don't care.
That's eternity if somebody is in danger.
I don't care if it's a friend, family member, coworker. If I get a message like that, I'm going to contact someone very close to them. If there's no information that I can garner from them, like, oh no, they're here, they went here, I'm going to call the police with that information.
Definitely.
It's very odd that she waited 3 hours, which just doesn't make it look good.
Speak with the detective that's been assigned to the case.
Do you have any further information?
I sure do. I mean, do you want the case number? I mean,
I the case number so I can look it up that way.
Bear with me just a second. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Okay, it's 2022 dash 0910 0216.
216.
Yes, ma'am.
And the detective may not actually be in the building yet, so I may have to get your patrol officer, okay? So just bear with me just a second.
Okay.
That's 09010.
I'm sorry, the handwriting is not that great, but it's 09100216.
Sorry about that. I think I missed.
You're fine. It's all I need.
On Rocky Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what kind of update do you have, just so I know what to try to...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean like I had an update. I just meant... Oh, my God. I didn't mean... I'm sorry. I'm not in a clear mental state. This is my mother that's missing. I just wanted to talk to them. I wanted to see if maybe there was something that I could do. I do have the rental agreement number if they needed that. I mean, that's the only thing that I have to offer. So maybe, because she was in a rental car, I do have...
I mean, having the rental car agreement is definitely not all you have to offer. You have all your devices. You have Venmo information. You have text calls. You could talk about the argument you had with her last night, what that was over. So I thought it was very weird that she just threw out that she has the rental car agreement. The husband has that as well. That's a very easy piece of evidence for the cops to gather, even without their help. So, that I thought that was weird to throw out, but just my opinion.
Her rental agreement number, if they could maybe trace the GPS in it.
What's your phone number?
Her daughter.
Yes, ma'am. Take a deep breath for me, okay?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'd be upset too. I completely understand that part, like being upset about it. So the officer that took your report is already gone for the day. He worked last night. And then the detectives, I don't think they're in the building right now. They're kind of working on an on-call basis, so I don't know that I can get in touch with them unless I have something, fresh to give them. That would be something, but I can see if I can get another officer to call you back, okay?
Okay,
We've got the bolo out for her. We got everybody, keeping their eyes peeled for her and that kind of thing. So
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here or anything, but do I need to hire a private detective maybe? Because I mean, and I'm not trying to be ugly or anything, but I don't understand I mean, I know you don't know everything, of course, but why it hasn't, what I've asked being done, like why isn't the GPS in the van being traced? Do I need a private detective to do that? I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly or anything.
I know.
I just, the most help.
Okay, so here's the thing. She's what is she?
She's an adult,
Right.
okay.
So that makes things a little more difficult because people are allowed to leave and go and do things without telling other people. And I know that's not a good answer. I understand that. But that is also, that is also part of it because she is an adult. So it just takes some time also to do these things. And so I don't specifically know what they've done yet or not. I wasn't here last night, so I don't know. But from my understanding, they would be doing everything that we know to do currently. But I will definitely get somebody to call you back, okay?
Okay, thank you for talking to me.
It's no problem. I'm so sorry. I hate that this is happening to you. What was your name again, sweetie?
Amanda Bearden.
Amanda Bearden. Spell your last name?
Bearden.
Okay. All right, I'll get somebody to call you back here shortly, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was number one.
Clark County Police.
Hi, can I speak with Colonel Johnson?
Okay, I don't have a Colonel Johnson.
Okay, he just called me. I had some more information for him, and I just wanted to give it to him. My name's Amanda Bearden.
Okay. All right, hold on one second. I talked to you earlier. So it was
Yes.
Sergeant Johnson we had you talk to. Hold on.
Sergeant Johnson. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. There's lots of Johnsons around here, so I want to make sure I got
I get it.
you just needed to call you back?
Yes, ma'am. I thought about it, and I have her iCloud information. I know that and correct me if I'm wrong, but if the phone is turned off, it would still track her. But I do have her. I've got her Apple ID and what I thought was her password, but the password isn't working.
So the cops are gonna request that information regardless. I mean, that's basically 101 in a case like this. They're gonna subpoena any information from any devices that they possibly can get their hands onto.
I think it's very, very important to understand what she said in that one little blurb, and that was that she had the password, it's not working. Okay? She has had access to her mom's devices.
Yep.
I think it's very possible that Steve or law enforcement locked the accounts at the point that, so that nobody could get into him, do anything at that point. Could have been Steve, could have been, because presumably that phone is in his name too, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that she states that it's not working means she was trying to get into that account.
Yep. And it's, I mean, it's 100% on the table that we do not know who sent that Venmo message. That's all gonna. That's all.
Do not know. It could have been sent from any other device.
Yeah, that's all gonna be sorted out with the subpoenas for device locations and what was sent, and it's very odd that they come out and say they don't know where the money is. I mean, that one's very baffling to me, but I mean, it's a baffling case. Let's see where we want to go here. I mean, we obviously have to show the Family Dollar.
Right.
I mean, we can't go through the case without the Family Dollar. We are, an hour and 20 minutes in. And, like, you could go forever on this case. I'm not going to obviously keep you all night. I know you have a life to live here, but we'll get through the main points here. Newly released video shows murdered Georgia mom Debbie Collier calmly shopping for a tarp and poncho in Family Dollar store after she disappeared, and less than 24 hours before her naked burned body was found in a ravine. So, cops released video footage of the last known sighting of murdered Georgia mom Debbie Collier entering a Family Dollar store less than 24 hours before her naked and burnt body was discovered in a wooded area. The 59-year-old appeared calm, not in fear of anything, as she bought several items. These are the same items that would be found next to her body. So you have the image of her entering the store. You know, I've heard wild theories that it's actually not her. I don't buy into that. It's her. I think it's her. You know, with how the timeline goes, you know, someone tried to throw out you know how these channels, they just clickbait stuff like.
So the reason that there's all that speculation about this is because Amanda calls police, and I've said this before. You know, it's very odd what she's done, like, because it feels in places like she's leading police to the things she wants them to find. And she tells police that her mom shopped at this Family Dollar for her for some cleaning supplies, right?
Yeah.
And the person at Family Dollar tells law enforcement that she saw Amanda in the store. But it all gets misconstrued, and when they show pictures of Amanda to the clerk at the store and then pictures of Debbie, they say, oh no, it was definitely Debbie, not Amanda.
Yeah.
Who came into the store. So that's how that got all wildly crazy. Once again, Amanda got in the middle of the investigation.
Yeah, she definitely keeps inserting herself. It's very obvious she's inserting herself into the investigation to get information. One, you could say as a grieving daughter. Two, you could say as, you know, criminals insert themselves into investigations to try to gather information. And she's a criminal in the sense of she's done drugs and been part of domestic violence, but she's not a criminal mastermind.
She did have, I think, some, she had filed a false police report, and she had some little petty crimes, for sure.
Yeah.
But, the kind of crimes you would expect to see with somebody who's had a history of drugs.
Yeah. When we're talking murder, like, inserting yourself into the investigation is the worst possible thing you could do because you just put a target on your back. So Collier leaves the store at 3:09 p.m. Investigators confirm the purchase. They got the receipt. She sits in the parking lot, and while she's in the parking lot, a message through Venmo is sent alongside with $2,385. In the video, the victim appears to be calm, not in fear of anything. All video footage obtained from the store and surrounding businesses reflect that the victim was alone in the van at the time she visited the store. From the side view of her vehicle, passenger seat, yes, it looks like there's nobody in the van. Doesn't mean that there's nobody tailing her. Doesn't mean that there's nobody north. Doesn't mean that there wasn't a meeting set up. There's so many different ways you could go with this.
You're still tripping over the fact that this woman went in with a smile on her face and purchased a body burying kit.
Yeah.
Later you'd find her deceased with all these things around. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. Let's see if this video wants to play through Daily Mail.
And the video did come out today of her pulling up into the parking lot.
Okay, I'll see if I can find that. You know what? I did see that on Grizzly True Crime last night. They kind of showed.
That's a different one.
Okay.
That's the parking lot where she's exiting, right?
Okay.
The one where she's entering the parking lot came out this afternoon on Gray Hughes. I clipped some of that and shared it to Twitter to just make it into quick, short clips of what we were looking for. Here's where she entered from, and this is the way she came in. And then once she was parked, here's her going into the store. But I did not I shared out his whole video, but out of respect, but, whatever. But I didn't watch it intently like I did the first one. At this point, I've had a really busy day. It doesn't look like there's anything too weird from this first glance.
Yeah. So you just see a calm purchase of a murder kit is basically what we're looking at there.
Yeah.
Husband, she was a beautiful woman. I loved her. Distraught, Stephen Collier said about his wife 11 days after her charred naked body was found in a ravine 60 miles from their house. Amanda Bearden, 36, leaves her Athens, Georgia home on Friday, September 20, leaves her home in Athens, Georgia. Police are yet to rule anyone out. So they didn't want to put that blurb underneath Steve. And then you got the boyfriend. I just don't like the looks of him, but, don't judge a book by its cover. Amanda's live-in boyfriend, former quote-unquote MMA fighter Andrew Giegelich. He has complained about them being interrogated by the police. Well, you showed up in town like 2 days before she was murdered, and you're one of the closest people to the investigation. You're gonna be interrogated, questioned, followed, probably surveilled at this point. With his criminal history, he should understand that, but, doesn't seem like too smart of a guy. Alright. Let's see what else we want to add here. Now, I know there was the image of the van the day before, and I think that was just showing a timeline.
This is a contention point also, and this is actually something where the public can participate. And that this van is spotted on camera at a 217, right? But it's not very far from the Family Dollar.
Yeah.
So there's a missing 20-30 minutes where nobody knows what she was doing, but she wasn't sitting in the parking lot of the dollar store. We know that now.
Yeah, because we see her exit, and that part is very odd. So this is from the Sun.
Somebody could have footage.
Yeah. And this is from the Sun, which everyone's going to say is not an accurate reporting system, but, this report is accurate. A new chilling clue is revealed in the Debbie Collier case after police release an image of her rented van moments before her murder. Moments is a little, moments, but... Her Pacifica was seen on traffic cameras by Tallulahua Falls School in Georgia at 2:17 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th. Now, I'm in complete contention that they have tons of more footage that they're just not going to talk about or release. So this is the traffic cam that spotted her vehicle just a few miles north of where her body was found. The photo adds to.
Well, they are asking anyone that did maybe see this van during that day, obviously, but definitely during that time, because there is missing time there, and it really could be a turning point in her day. For instance, if she was called out there, say she was just going to buy groceries like her husband thought she would normally be doing, maybe got a call and then gonna drop him off at home really quick and go to the game, and that's why she was dressed that way. Maybe she got a call that she needed to go out that way, and those things she bought were for the game, tailgating or whatever, a tarp and a poncho. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I buy that either, but that missing time and her going all the way out there, it seems like there's something going on right there.
All right. So let's get into just quickly a little bit of the daughter's boyfriend's history of arrest. Talk about that really quick, and then we can play a little bit of the press conference. Also, there was a bullet found, an unused bullet found near the scene of the crime. Doesn't match up with a hunting ballistic, so that was just another piece of information. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that's actually, if I heard that right, it may be from an assault rifle of some type.
Yeah, it's an unfired round found near the scene. So we don't know if it's connected. I'm sure they're fingerprinting that up, and
yeah, they have no idea if it's connected.
Yeah,
they'll check.
All right, so trying to load this New York Post article here. So this was, let's just put it out there. Quote, "I will hurt them. Chilling note threatening violence against Debbie Collier and family revealed." The boyfriend of murdered Georgia mom Debbie Collier's daughter allegedly threatened violence against her entire family last year in a chilling note, and was arrested just last month for violating parole from a DUI, I believe. Quote, and here it is on the screen. You can see the handwritten, very erratic message in green marker, just very bizarre. "If you or your family ever come near me again, I will hurt them." They keep calling him a former amateur fighter. The handwritten message, scrawled in green marker, was included in police evidence photos following a May 21 domestic dispute between Bearden and Gingrich, who were living in a home owned by her stepfather, Debbie's husband, Steve. "Have a nice life, you lying ass bitch. Don't ever contact me again." Gingrich apparently wrote in the note before making the threats. So you can just see the,
How fancy.
It's very, very odd. "P.S. I'm not stupid. Here's your..." They scribble it out.
I think that's supposed to be effing key, but I'm not sure.
Hey, maybe it's the same key that they wanted to leave under the flower pot.
Yeah.
Now this is another weird one. She shared these images to Facebook herself, saying that she took a fall on the sidewalk. And I think most people, when they hear things like that, say, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it was a fall." But we have no history of ever being a call to that house for anything domestic. No reports of family or friends saying that anything has ever happened between the husband and wife being domestic. So that was just out of left field to see that picture.
Would also say that really kind of looks consistent with a little bit of a road rash to it,
Yeah, the scrape,
So,
the
I mean,
scrape.
unless she was pushed onto the sidewalk, kind of does look like she may have hit, and not like asphalt sidewalk where it would have been really, really torn up, but something more like a sidewalk where it was smoother. It really does kind of have that look.
Yeah, the scrape above the eye makes it a little more believable that it's not a punch or a blunt object hitting her, and you know.
I really hope not. It would really be crappy to think that this woman would have that terrible of a life and then end up murdered like she was in such a horrific way.
Yeah.
You know.
Debbie Collier murders slain victim's daughter, had boyfriend arrested in 2021 for violating no contact order. And they both have been arrested. Again, a former Georgia MMA fighter accused of threatening the murdered Debbie Collier was arrested for a domestic incident a year prior to her death. And they talk about had accused his girlfriend Bearden, Collier's daughter, of stealing money for drugs. He was arrested on September 4th, 21 for violating a no contact order and banging on Bearden's home. And there is footage of that where they show the footage of him outside the household.
Right.
Fox News obtained body cam footage of 2021 showing Gingrich being taken into police custody after Bearden, 36, accused him of banging on her door and demanding money. So I don't know if this is the article where the footage is in. It's very easy footage to find, but if this is the one, I'll play a short clip of it. And he even seems weird in this. He just seems he's just a sketchy guy.
Yeah, I think he's, he's a sketchy guy. Yeah, listen to this. Creepy.
Some of these Fox videos are weird, so let me give it a second to try to play. If not, I'd much rather go with a YouTube video if it doesn't play immediately. Some of these videos that they embed are just
I know.
terrible.
And end up with all these commercials too.
Oh man, yeah, they got to get their advertisements in, especially in a case like this.
A fun fact: the speculation again, but his mom goes to prison in December, I believe, and gets 30 years for meth, right?
Yeah.
For selling meth or whatever, commercial trafficking. I believe that was in December. You first start seeing her brother in Maryland giving her money via Venmo in January. So I suspect that is when they moved.
Yeah.
After his mom went to prison.
Yeah, and to clear that up, the mom of Andrew basically solicited an undercover officer to sell him a bunch of meth and was given 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a lot of meth.
So she's dumb. I mean, that's one.
And that's probably for the best. She was his manager, manages social media and stuff. And I think that she probably was a not very good person either. So the apple didn't fall far from the tree, I fear, on this one.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna pull up Law and Crime Network's YouTube version of this, just so it's not one of these embedded videos. Plus, I got the ad blocker for this specifically when I do videos, because every channel gets ads now. Like it's unbelievable.
She's been taking money from my car.
It'd be crazy.
And that's the only reason we've had any contact. Because every week she takes $500 or $600 from my check, and I just don't see how that's right. And she goes and does dope with my money, like I do. And I've made over $30,000-$40,000 this year, and I'm completely broke because she spends it all on drugs. My issue is that there's clothes in the house that is mine.
All right. So the one thing that doesn't make sense to me is why would you allow this to go on so long? Where you, to me, it sounds like he's almost making up that she's taking the money from him. But like, once it happened once, why wouldn't you just cut her off from the account or
100%.
get a check?
And let me point this out. This is really an important little thing to point out with what he's saying right there. If we just do the math very quickly, if she is taking $500 or $400 a week out of his check, that's $26,000. If he's making $30,000, because he says 30 to 40,000, that means he's only got 4,000 left to live on. Now we know they're living together anyway, so go pound sand. But if she's taking $500 a week out of the check, now we're at 31,000, a little over $31,000. Like, you're not surviving on the money that's left over.
Yeah. Again, another thing that doesn't add up in this story.
Yeah.
From a guy that's very sketchy and suspect. Literally.
Right.
What happened when you came over here this morning? I asked for my clothes and she said I needed to leave. I mean, I just got here. I haven't done anything wrong. That window's been broke. Can I just leave if she's not going to give me my clothes?
Nah.
I really haven't. I mean,
You're never going to be in a situation and say to the cops, can I just leave? And they're going to be like, yeah, no problem, man. Just get out of here. Like,
He tried.
yeah, you got A for effort.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on because, beating on somebody's door this early cause a scene. So, I understand. I mean, I'm right. Discussing with someone. She said to not ring the doorbell because of Catholic. I just knocked on the door a couple times. I haven't done anything that they're saying. I mean, they've already made false charges against me before. So y'all were talking through the door at each other? Really, so. Trying to. But I mean, if she wants me to leave, I'll leave. I didn't know. Alright, man.
Just stand,
Can I just go?
just stand by with me so he can talk to her.
He really wants to go. Now, at this point, she has the order of protection where they're not supposed to see each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, presumably they've been living together most of this entire time, and maybe even up until the night before.
Yeah.
In each one of these instances, because his stuff is still in the house, and it doesn't seem like they ever really stay any apart from each other. They're just in one of those
Weird
types of
relationships, but she can use that anytime she wants if she wants to.
Well, and keep in mind her stepdad owns this house.
True.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Andrew.
I just want to be done with her. I mean,
Have y'all
she's been cheating on me. She's been doing drugs. I've never done any drugs in my life.
have y'all had police involved before in y'all's business?
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to get my money back because we're not supposed to have contact, but she's taking $500 each check.
Why aren't y'all supposed to have contact, Andrew?
Because
Is there like a court order?
I guess so. I don't know. I went
Yes.
to court a while back, but
Did you get arrested?
Very evasive. Like, obviously, if there's a court order, if you're not supposed to be around. Like,
Yeah, he totally knows. That's why he wants to leave.
yeah. Yeah, I guess. I went to court a while back. There's a court order, bro.
I've been arrested before. The last time I got arrested because they falsified whatever. I mean, her mom, dude, I don't know what the issue is here. I don't know why I'm so unliked. This girl got hit by a car and I'm taking care of her. I don't know what the problem is.
Let's get in the shade.
I
Over
would
here.
just like to, I mean, I work hard.
Where do you work at?
Williams Sonoma.
Williams Sonoma. Okay.
I just want to know why it's okay for her to steal $600 a week from me, and I can't do anything about it.
It's not okay. So we're here now, so
Because
maybe
last
we can
time I
help
went to
out.
court, I mentioned that, and
What'd they say?
I mean, well, they pushed it back till another day. So
How does she have access to your money?
well, long story short, when we were together, my phone broke. Long story short, I mean, she's manipulated me into all of it, where she could have all my money, basically do whatever she wants to me, kick me out whenever she wants, you know, basically just do whatever. And it's okay because I'm a man. There's nothing I can do about it, like other than just let her do it and or leave.
But how does she? I'm asking.
Well,
how
long
does
story short, I didn't have a phone because my phone broke. So this is the dumbest mistake I've ever. We linked our cards together so she can send herself money from my card. So I mean, the first person to touch my money is her, and it's usually $500 or $600.
Where do you work? So how do you get paid through your job?
Well, I just recently switched it to a paper check, so she couldn't do that, and.
Okay. So you kind of took care of that problem.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still $4,000 that.
You know, you got to go to court for something like that. If she's not willing to give you the money back, you got to take her to court, a civil court. Because y'all live together, so it's a civil issue.
We don't live together anymore.
Y'all did though.
Okay.
So.
I'm just trying to figure out, because I told her, like, hey, don't take any of my money. I'm staying at my grandma's, and then all of a sudden.
The whole story is fucking just. He didn't think for 2 months to go to paper check. I don't even know if I buy into the story that she took the money. I mean, that whole thing is a little odd.
I mean, I don't think they ever stayed apart long enough for it to be one person's money or the other. I think that they were taking his checks and getting high.
Yeah. I 100%.
He says he's never done drugs in his life, but I would argue that
Yeah.
he sure looks pretty messed up to me in some of the stuff that he's... and she looks maybe like she might be on pills.
Yeah, I'm assuming they both were using drugs. He's upset now that all that money's gone, and he's trying to blame her for taking it from his check, even though they probably, speculating, they both spent it together.
They didn't pay the rent, right?
Yeah. So now he wants some kind of comeback on it. Let me see if there's anything else we want to add here. Do you want to do a little bit of the press conference, or is there anything else you want to add to this at this point?
I think we've covered a lot of it, including the press conference, really, because a lot of what was in the press conference we have kind of thrown in there. But yeah I mean,
I'm good
with a pretty good view of a lot of it. That is her brother right there, by the way, with her mother. That picture hurts my heart because you know that poor guy had, I'm sure he had nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah, I 100% agree that he was railroaded by this, and you can almost tell when he came out and said, you know what, like, I don't want any speculation. I want the cops to just investigate this and find out what happened to my mom. Like, that's a statement you want to hear from somebody, not the sister's reaction of running around town and telling people different things and, trying to insert herself in every piece of the investigation. And I just want to hammer home the point again of her going to the father's house, going into the room and being the arbiter of what was there and not there is very, very suspect.
And going through I think it's also very, very important to she had the iCloud account password, and she had access to go inside the house before Steve would have ever gotten home. When she says she's searching for her mom, she says she went to Walmart and Ulta Beauty. Someone said they're in the same parking lot, and I don't know if that's true or not, but if I got a message like that from my mom, I would not presume that she might be at a beauty supply store. I would definitely be calling the police. Waiting 3 hours and then not saying anything about the key or not saying anything about the iCloud. Man, I mean, they could have tried the Find My Phone app right then and there. She didn't give them the iCloud information. Now, the police were already able to have that phone pinged without her daughter. They weren't including her daughter and telling her anything that was going on. So she keeps calling them and asking more questions. Well, I've got this, but I don't have the right password's not working. I don't know if you guys have that kind of technology, if you can do anything with that phone, if the phone's off. But, she's fishing.
Yeah. I
Or
agree.
it sounds like she's fishing. I don't know that to be completely 100% true, but it sounds like that.
I agree 100%. I definitely appreciate you coming on because I don't think I could have did this whole thing without you. People can find you at Angels Broken Halo on Twitter. I will link that in the description of the video so they can follow you on Twitter. Is there anything else you want to say or put out there or links or anything like that?
Justice for Debbie.
Justice for Debbie. I 100% agree. Well, thank you for, I randomly asked you, you said yes, and we put it together within 24 hours, so it worked out perfect. And I think we got a good amount of information out there. And I will have this video up tonight, and I will also have it as a premiere on YouTube tomorrow.
Well, you have a fantastic evening.
You as well. Very nice meeting you and talking to you and going over the case. You have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Alright, guys. Let me close up Discord here. And I want to play a couple things here. Again, thanks to simply_stranger at Angels Broken Halo. If you look through her timeline, it's a lot of true crime, but she's clipping up, she's posting, she's putting out theories, she's answering questions. Hashtagging Debbie Collier. You can tell when a person cares about the case just for the case. I wasn't gonna include her when I was talking about kind of these fake true crime people that do it just for the super chats and stuff like that. So I didn't want to, involve her in doing that. All right. So I want to get a little of the press conference. And just show that the cop said deliberate and personal. Because that's very important. Gotta have the archive of the Washington Post, because God forbid they want you to pay for information about a missing person. Unbelievable. 911 call about Georgia mom Debbie Collier mentioned accident with mystery truck. That has nothing to do with the case. Let's see here. They're not gonna let me go. They're talking about additional surveillance footage, and they have a bunch of footage that they're not releasing yet.
Let me go. Love you. The missing persons case turned into a murder investigation the next day when Collier's body was found on her back in a wooded area about an hour's drive from where she lives in Athens, Georgia. The police report says she was grasping a small tree with her right hand when her body was found.
Now, they have came out and said this is deliberate. Let me just pull that up so you guys can see it. Deliberate and personal. Which points to the daughter's boyfriend, or they know something. And this is from everywhere from the Washington Post to Law and Crime to local affiliates. And there's clips of the main investigator talking about this, which I was trying to find. Deputy thinks Georgia mom was killed in a deliberate and personal murder after she left the dollar store. So if we can get a good embedded video here.
Sheriff Joey Terrell, I want to welcome you. To begin with, I'd like to give you a brief synopsis of where we are to date on the investigation. The results of the autopsy are still pending. The results regarding the analysis of the items we've submitted to the crime lab are still pending. We are now just beginning to get responses to the search warrants and the subpoenas in the case to date. We can tell you that we have received additional footage from a security camera from a business near the Family Dollar store. That additional footage shows us that Deborah Collier walked out of the Family Dollar store at 3:09, got into her van, and remained in her van in the parking lot for 10 minutes before leaving the parking lot and heading south on Georgia 15, Highway 441, US 23. This tells us that the...
So they have all that information.
time frame is actually narrowed a little further.
And they go through a 30-minute press conference, which I will link down into the description of the video so you guys can watch it. But they make it very clear. Debbie